Thank you all for being here today. And yeah, so today I decided to discuss or to talk to you about time management during grad school because I think that is a very important component for grad students. And just before we start, I wanted to say that a lot of things that I'll be talking about here today will be based on my observations, on my experiences as grad students, and a few things that I learned. And keep in mind that maybe some things that I will say here will not work for you. Things that work for me may not work for you. So I invite you to watch this presentation with a very open mind and take it, things that you believe to be useful for you and for you to get more out of your day. And one of the questions that I think it gets through our mind during grad school, it's like, well, if we all have the same amount of hours in a day, why some people can get more things done than me? Well, because they're genius. Well, because they're very smart and smarter than me. I'm not smart enough. No, I think it's a very simple answer. It's just because some people, they know how to manage their time better than others. And as you can see here, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they developed this survey that shows the average time used per day for full-time employed people. So in ages in between 25 and 54, and you can see here how, on average, how people spend their hours of their day. So you see here 8.6 hours working or doing work-related activities, a little bit over an hour eating and drinking, doing other things, 1.2 hours, sleeping, about 8.4, grooming, 0.8, and doing sports, leisure activities, 3.9 hours. And this is it's based on their survey with 10 years of data. But let's look at how you, grad student, spend your 24 hours per day. So if you guys have seen the PhD comics, this was adapted from their, also their graphs. So sleeping, what does that include in the 8.4 hours of sleeping? So a little bit of napping, a little bit of daydreaming, a little bit of actually sleeping, maybe laying down in bed and thinking about your life choices. Why am I in grad school? And uneasy sleep, and maybe watching videos because you cannot fall asleep. Let's look at how you spend your working hours. Worrying about work, you talk about work, your workload with your office mates, and then maybe you're just tired, you're browsing the internet and you start texting with your friends about your workload, and then you do some actual work. In sports, you read about sports, you talk about sports, maybe you're browsing the internet, and then you do some actual sports. And it goes from there, eating and drinking. So that involves some free food, some snacking, and maybe getting some drinks out with your friends. Well, that's just kidding, right? That doesn't happen. So anyways, what I wanted to say today is that there is light at the end of the grad school tunnel, and you're gonna get through it. So let's look at a few tips and a few things here. One of the things that I think it's very important during for you to make more out of your day, it's actually starting with things that maybe that you may be wasting your time or not using it as smart as the way you should. So a good thing is to identify those time wasters activities. So just pay attention at how much time are you spending on activities that are not associated with things that actually may get you somewhere. So here I put some examples like social media, texting, browsing the internet. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. If this is something that it's entertainment to you and something that you like doing, what I would say is just set a time for that too. And one of the strategies that you can do to not lose too much of your time with those activities is actually put it as a reward activity. So you set times to focus, times that you need to focus, pay attention on what you're doing, and then you set a time right after, okay, now I'm going to relax and use this. But always setting time for things so you don't lose track of your time in things that are considered time wasters activities. Another thing, set goals and develop a plan. So why are you here to begin with? So set realistic goals. So just make a little bit of a reflection. What is your someday goal? Where do you want to be after grad school? So why are you in grad school? And from there, you start setting your realistic goals. So realistic, I say things that are attainable in realistic in work-related activities, and also on your life, on other activities that are not so directly related to work. And a good homework for that, just start by tracking how long it takes for you to do things. So then you know how long, how much time you need to do things. Put your goals on, or plans on a piece of paper, because that helps you to with clarity, and also you can come back and revisit what you had planned. And make sure when you're setting up your goals and deciding your plans, you account for your energy level during the day. So some people, they just work better in the morning than in the afternoon. So if you are one, I am one of those people that I prefer put my deep work for mornings. I have better energy in the morning. So if I can schedule my meetings for the afternoon, I do it. Of course, it's not always possible, but if you're setting up your plans for writing, for things that you need to focus, just pay attention at time of the day that you have your most energy, and you organize your day based on that too, because that's real. Be careful with a to-do list. So that can become a list of important things to do, but not urgent. And we know where that leads us. Procrastination. It never gets done. I prefer to work from my calendar. So if I have an activity, I prefer just to put a deadline on that and make sure I get something done by that day. Of course, not everything is perfect, but at least if you have a deadline, I think you have a better chance of getting that thing done than just writing a list of things that keep increasing, and it never gets done. And there is that rule of thumb that if you can do a task in less than 5 minutes, then just do it immediately. Decide your one thing. So what is that thing that is going to help you to reach your goal? So first, you need to think on your goal. Where do you want to be someday? Where do you want to be, or what do you want to achieve in a year, in 2 years? And decide that thing that's going to help you to reach that goal. So let's say your goal right now is to graduate, right? To write that thesis. Yes, it looks like it's very far away, that you have a very long road until you get there, but it's actually closer than you think. And I'm sure here some of you that might be on your second year of your master's, and you look behind, you're like, wow, it has been a year already and I haven't even touched a chapter. So that's why it's important to keep that end date in mind. For example, here, one thing that may help you it's to break down your one thing. So let's say your one thing is your thesis, and you have 2 or 3 chapters on your thesis, just starting to break that thesis down into chapters, and you start thinking in smaller compartments, and you break those chapters into subsessions. Let's say materials and methods. What is included in the materials and methods? Well, for example, you have a field experiments. We know that part of the materials and methods will be site description. You're going to have some information about soil type, weather, experimental designs. And those are things that you already have when you start working on your projects. Usually, at least in your second semester, you might already have that information. And why not start writing about it? And so you can start planning your day, not about work on your thesis, but actually working on a paragraph of the materials and methods of a chapter 1. So this is just an idea of how you can start breaking the gigantic thesis it just seems so overwhelming that you can never get it done, and you break it in a small compartment, and it's more attainable, and it's easier for you to put in your daily schedule, and it's easier for you to get that done. And so here, develop a plan for your day, develop a plan for your week and for your month and for your year. Let's say this year, I want to finish chapter 1. So what do you need to do in a month to be able to accomplish that year goal? What do you need to do in a week to be able to accomplish that monthly goal? And then you start walking back and breaking into small tasks. One thing that it might help, especially in grad school, that we have so many activities, right? So you have to go to class, you have homework, you have to go to the field or to the lab. So you may try to separate your day, one day it's to focus. So one day or a period of the day. So this morning I am going to focus, or these hours of the day, I'm going to leave it to focus and I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to focus on this paragraph. You may separate your day by a buffer day. So that's a day that you know you're going to need to go and teach undergrads in the lab and help them to, I don't know, to teach them to do something, or you need to get reimbursed for a conference, you need to get some paperwork done. It's like that day that you need to do a lot of small things. Why not put them all together and you just take part of your day and you get all those things out of your way? So that helps, instead of trying to, okay, I'm going to sit down now, try to write a chapter for 1 hour, and then in 1 hour, I'm going to go to the main office and do something else. I think that is a little bit harder to do because you have a lot of distractions that may happen and avoid, and you just don't get what you're hoping for then. And make sure you have those free days too. You need that. Your brain needs that. And you're going to be more efficient if you allocate those free days to relax, to think about something else, and then you come back to work and focus on the days that you need to focus. And one thing that I think it's important it's to set deadlines. Even if your advisor didn't give you a deadline to have something done, give it yourself. And make your priorities based on those deadlines. And one thing that really helped me, it was to look at the date. Okay, everybody here has already an idea when you're going to be graduating, right? And that day, it's closer than you think. So let's say here, if you're planning to graduate May 21st, so that means you need to defend, let's say, 1 month before that grad school deadline. So this is the deadline from grad college, right? So let's say at least you need to defend at least 15 days, 1 month before that deadline. So that means you need to have your full thesis to your committee 2 weeks before your defense. And that means that you need to have your full thesis to your advisor, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month before that. It means that you need to have your chapter. So I don't want to make anybody nervous here, but that day it's way earlier than you think. So what I say is your graduation is that tip of the Mount Everest, and you need to walk back on that graduation date, so you have a better idea when you actually need to have things done. And again, if your graduation is like this Mount Everest, when you start hiking, well, I've never hiked the Mount Everest, but when you start doing something that is very challenging, you start full of energy, right? And you're down here. When will be the time that you're gonna be most tired? Isn't it gonna be up here? You're almost there, but you're exhausted. So why are you gonna leave everything that you need to do for your thesis when you're up here? So just do little by little. I think that helps to break that stress that everybody says that by the end, everybody's tired. So just break that. Don't leave everything up to the end that you're gonna be tired, because you're gonna be, all this time, you're gonna be working very hard and you're gonna be tired, and you know that. So just plan for that. And there is one technique that I think it's very helpful. It's called time blocking. So basically what you do here, you block your time during the day or the week that helps you to reach your goal, and you protect that time. So you organize your day in advance, And you may organize it in hour or even minutes increments. So it depends on the activities that you have in your day. So, and for that, you need to know how long it takes you to do things, how long it takes you to get ready, like be realistic to actually know how many hours you have in a day and how many hours you're gonna need to do everything. And why this makes you more productive? Because when you have already scheduled what you're going to be doing in block of hours or in minutes, however you prefer, it makes it easier for you to switch from one activity to another. So let's say you have class from 9 to 10. So until you get to class, you don't really know what to do because you're about to get to class. And then you get out of class, you don't really know what to do because soon it's going to be lunch. So instead of sitting there and trying to think what you need to do, why not spend a little bit of time in that morning or even on the day before trying to plan that day? So when you get out of class, you already know what is the activity that you can do right after, and allow yourself realistic time. So you have 1 hour class from 10 to 11. Just give yourself 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after window that you know you're going to be preparing to go. When you come back, you need to prepare things, or just the time to come back and relax, put your thoughts in place. And what I say is just be realistic with the time. And I believe that when you have those time blockings that you know, okay, I only have 2 hours to work on this, I think it makes you focus on that activity better than thinking like, oh, I have all day to do this. I think those time blocking your time in certain activities may help you to focus better. And how do you deal with interruptions? So everybody gets interrupted, things happen, and some days we just need to react to things that happen that we're not planned for, and that's fine. So you may allow yourself a reaction time. So you select a time for things that you didn't plan for. So let's say you have undergrads in the lab that they are working on a project that is very new. They don't know much, and they will probably knock at your door asking questions. So just account for that. You can even try to go there even before they knock at your door, just to check up on things, and you put that in your schedule, on your daily plan. And shut off notifications on your phone when you're trying to focus, even vibration of your phone, even those notifications that just appear on your screen. I think those things are very distracting. And you may believe it's not, but it is. Everything that is around you might be distracted. You might even put your phone in the drawer when you're trying to focus. And if something happens that it wasn't as planned, that's okay. You just revise the plan. And don't be discouraged if you can't follow it, because things will happen, that's fine. The only thing it's important to have a plan is that you know where to come back to when you get distracted. And delegate when you can. So I'm mentioning a lot about the undergrad student workers because I hear that a lot of people struggle when working with a lot of people and they need to teach the undergrads. And I think one of the things that helps is actually to develop a plan for them. So upfront, to develop a schedule for the group. Okay, this day we're going to be doing this and this is how we do it. Do things ahead and put that on your daily activities too, because you're spending your time teaching them, you're spending your time training them, and that's acceptable. Just be organized, and that helps. Planning for your future career, that is part of your PhD, of your master's too, because that's what you're in grad school for. You're training yourself for your next step. So that is part of your time management too. You need to remember that when you go for your next job, you need to remember that maybe your boss is not going to be telling you all your deadlines, when you need to do things, what you're going to be doing exactly with your time. So this is the time that you need to use to train and to practice that time management, that work-life balance. And one of the things I did during my grad school was to look at job descriptions, look at the requirements, go out on the internet and look at the job positions that it would be a job that you would like to do. getting the job descriptions and the requirements and see what are their requirements, see what you need. And you use this time during grad school to prepare for that. So then when you apply for, it may not be that exact position, position, but it's something related. Let's say there is a position that requires experience with statistical analysis in R. Use this time in grad school to get those skills. This is the time. That's why you're in grad school, because you're learning, and this is the time. And put that in your daily plans as well, because that will be part of your one-day goal, of your someday goal, where you want to be in the future. So just don't ignore your future career plans. And there is another technique here that I've heard that some people like, some people don't. Personally, I don't use it myself because I think that distracts me more than helps. But I know some people, they like when they are doing activities that require short period of time. So let's say you have 25, 30 minutes of a time during your day that you need to get something done. So you set up a timer and you rush. It's like a sprint in this 25 minutes, and then you rest for 5 minutes. And then you set up a time again for 25 minutes and you rest. That rest, that's what I was saying before. It could be the time that you use to do those time wasters activities. So you work for this 25 minutes and you relax, you reward yourself for 5 minutes. That may help you, you know. So some people, they like, I would say that don't set up your timer on your phone, because you're gonna tend to look at the notifications when they show up. So if you have a timer like this timer that I have back here, I don't know if you can see it, that may help, or any timer that is not on your phone. I think that helps. And yeah, and with that, just keep in mind that grad school is your time to learn. Try to develop, just try to do the exercise to develop the daily plan, weekly plan, you know, those plans that will help you to reach your goal, and prioritize based on deadlines. Even if no one gives you deadline, give it yourself, so you know how long it takes you to do things. Begin with the end in mind. Look at your graduation date, for example, and start walking backwards to see how long you need actually to write up that thesis, that dissertation. Bet your work. So maybe you if you can separate your day in the lab, in the field, doing paperwork in the class, so things like that, whenever you can. There are several techniques out there. Today I talked to you about time blocking and Pomodoro technique. And also keep in mind that working long hours does not mean greater efficiency, greater productivity. It's just how you manage those hours that you're going to work, and be intentional about it. Separate those hours and use those hours to actually work, that then you'll be more efficient. Dedicate time for your health. That is very important. And stress during grad school is real. And I believe that at least trying to manage your time better, trying to use some type of technique that helps you focus, I think that will also help you to reduce the stress during grad school. And with that, I'll take any questions, and thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you, Amanda, very much. Do we have any questions?